Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our March Sustainability Chat brought to you by the Sustainability Institute. My name is Casey Mahan. I direct programming with the Sustainability Institute. We're located here in La Crosse, Wisconsin, in the Driftless region of the Midwest. And the Sustainability Institute, we are all about catalyzing sustainable actions in the Seven Rivers region. And we do that by educating about sustainability issues and local solutions, advocating for climate and sustainability action, connecting like-minded organizations and people to each other, and inspiring a positive vision for a sustainable future. Today, we're talking to Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations about e-waste and what to do about it. If you've never been to one of our sustainability chats, we do monitor the chat box. So if you have any questions or concerns, please type it in the chat box. And then we should have a couple of minutes at the end to answer any questions that you have. So as you have questions, as our presenters are talking, please type those in the chat box and we'll get to them. Now, before we start, we have a poll question, two poll questions here that we'd like you to answer. It shouldn't take more than a couple seconds. First, have you heard of Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations? And the second question is, which group best represents your role at today's sustainability chat? So I'll give you a couple of seconds here to enter that. All right, great. So it looks like we've got most people, the vast majority, almost 90%, have heard of Dynamic, which is fantastic. And it looks like we're fairly equally split between community members and businesses or organizations that are attending today. So electronic waste or e-waste, you might be thinking, well, what's the problem with e-waste? And there's several. So e-waste refers to electronic products that are unwanted, not working, and or nearing the end of their useful life. So we're talking about computers, we're talking about TVs, VCRs, DVD players, laptops, tablets, cell phones, stereos, copiers. There's about 59 million metric tons of e-waste generated in 2022 worldwide. And that's growing by about 2 million tons per year. So that's just a huge amount, right? E-waste, it turns out, is actually a health threat for a number of reasons. And so I want to just really quickly touch base on that before we throw it off to our presenters. So what I'd like you to consider is just the full life cycle of where e-waste comes from and where it actually goes. So we can look at, let's say the computers that we're using right now to broadcast this, right? So if we look at the beginning life cycle, excuse me, of where these computers come from, well, we have to extract materials, right? Minerals and metals and things from the ground in order to make those. Now, it turns out that our e-waste, our phones, our computers, right? They're full of toxic materials. Mercury, lead, cobalt, beryllium, cadmium, bunch of stuff that they're called rare earth elements or rare earth metals. And it's stuff that you really don't want in your body or near you. So rare earth elements are needed for these electronics, but they're often mined using really damaging industrial processes that actually create a toxic environment for people around where those mines are happening. So there's that piece of it, but there's also the fact that lots of places that are actually mining these are using child miners. So this is a picture from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where kids as young as 8, 9, 10 years old are working in unregulated environments by hand to extract these minerals. These are oftentimes called conflict minerals because the people that own the mines are warlords, right? So they're kidnapping kids and then forcing them into the ground to do this dirty work of mining. So that's one thing that we want to try to avoid that, and we can do that by interrupting the full life cycle of these of electronics. If we can interrupt the need to mine more by instead maybe recycling our e-waste and reusing it, that's a really good thing. But we also need to look at the end of the life cycle of our electronics. There are lots and lots of materials that we can reuse to actually create new electronics. But that isn't typically what happens. In America, we produce about 46 pounds of e-waste per capita. That's the latest stat I could find. That was from 2019. So only about 15% of that, of the e-waste that we produce actually gets properly recycled. A good bit of it ends up in landfills where, those toxic chemicals that I was talking about leach out and eventually pollute our groundwater. But then another good chunk of it ends up in backyard recycling operations in developing nations, China, Vietnam, India. And this is where workers are smashing and burning our e-waste to gain access to those metals inside, which they then recover for little bits of money. So this is a picture from Guiyu, China. Guiyu, China is known as the e-waste capital of China. It processes most of the world's e-waste. Now, more than 80% of kids in Guiyu have very high levels of lead in their blood because this e-waste recycling is happening there. And residents of Guiyu have the highest levels of dioxins that have ever been found in people. Dioxins cause reproductive damage, developmental problems, immune system damage. Dioxins cause cancer. So really, by us just throwing our e-waste away, right, or improperly recycling it, we're actually causing pretty serious problems on the other side of the world. Now, fortunately, we have a great solution right here in our backyard. It's fantastic in dynamic life cycle innovations. So we are joined today by Angela Remus and Sarah Davis, who both work on the OEM solutions team at Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations. They support the recycling business unit by working with original equipment manufacturers to help them meet their legislative recycling obligations and sustainability goals. They're also members of Dynamics Sustainability Committee, sharing their passion for sustainability both professionally and personally. Angela is Dynamics subject matter expert for the company's newly launched avoided emissions calculator, and Sarah is the collection event coordinator. So together, they provide exceptional customer service and help showcase some of Dynamics' most unique service offerings. So I would like to welcome Angela and Sarah.
All right. Hi, Casey. Thank
Hey
you.
there. Take it
right.
away. The screen share is all yours.
Perfect. We've got that going, I think.
You're up and running.
Up and running. Excellent. Okay, cool. So I'm Angela Remus, and I'm going to start today's presentation by
Whoops, Angela, looks like you're muted right now.
oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. How far did I get? I'll just start over.
Perfect.
Sorry about that technical error. So I'll start with a short intro of who we are and what we do here at Dynamic.
And actually, Angela, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Your screen's also not sharing again.
Oh, I must have been kicked off. Let's see. There we go. Are we back on?
You're back on. Yep, looks good.
All right, cool. Yes, who we are, what we do here. We were established in 2007, which means we're now in our 17th year of operation. We started out pretty small, but have grown pretty greatly throughout the years. We now currently have 430,000 square feet of processing across 3 locations. There are 2 facilities here in Wisconsin on Bryce Prairie, and we also have a facility out in Nashville, Tennessee. So while we are physically located in both Wisconsin and Tennessee, we truly do have a global footprint as we service customers from all over the world. And we have built a strong network of partnerships in order to offer seamless service to our customers, regardless of their location. Most companies in the recycling industry are only able to specialize in like one or two different service offerings and then have to outsource all of the rest of the work. What makes Dynamic truly unique is our vertical integration. So our scope of services cover everything from logistics or transportation, as you might know it, IT asset disposition, or what we call ITAD, recycling and materials recovery, consumer returns, and even legislative management, which we'll get more into later on. Being vertically integrated and having such a comprehensive scope of services gives our customers just a one-stop shop for effectively managing their materials at the end of life. So I'd like to show you guys just a short little video here to give you an inside look of our operations.
Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations is a leader in data security and electronics and materials lifecycle management. With our highly vetted global logistics network, we're able to get the job done right, anywhere on the planet. Through constant innovation and a dedicated team, we produce some of the purest material separation. This gives our processed material new life in the recycling stream, ensuring landfill diversion while delivering industry-leading value recovery to our customers. In all this, our mission is simple. We care about our people and our culture and the earth we live on. Our focus is to continue to develop sustainable methods of material recovery that treat this world with integrity and provide absolute confidence and trust to you, our customer. Think new, think different, think dynamic.
So yeah, as you see in that video, our purpose is to protect the planet and our customers' interests by giving electronics their next best life. Over the past few years, we have taken steps to ensure that business and operations decisions meaningfully consider both sustainability risks and opportunities. We use these assessments to effectively inform the development of our future strategies and goals. It is amidst this push towards a circular and low carbon economy that we recognize the way we manage sustainability issues has a direct link to the success of our business and our customers. Our purpose statement, landfill diversion policy, and annual environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, report all underscore our commitment to operating in an environmentally sustainable manner. So to demonstrate how the recycling process works, this graphic gives you a 10,000 foot view of the circular economy and how Dynamic participates in it. It all starts with original equipment manufacturers, or OEMs, who produce electronics and sell them into the market to consumers. So consumers include everyone from businesses, hospitals, schools, other manufacturers, government entities, and of course you and me, who purchase these electronics for use. At the end of their life, the electronics are disposed of, and this is where Dynamic comes in to collect this e-waste. We do this either through the collection events that we hold within our communities, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, or through our logistics team. When it arrives at our facility, we first assess if there is any reusability. And if so, this then goes to our ITAD department. They check it over and look and see if it meets cut lines and criteria for refurbishment. And if so, then it goes back out into the market to be resold to a new consumer, giving that electronic a second life. If it cannot be reused, though, it then goes for further processing, either to be harvested for parts, which if also meeting cut lines could be resold, or for manual or mechanical processing to break these down into those raw materials that Casey mentioned earlier. Those raw materials can then be remade into new products, avoiding the need to mine them from the earth. So that's just some ways how recycling e-waste positively impacts the environment. Others are, first by avoiding the need to create new products when those products could be refurbished and resold. Second is by avoiding the need to mine from the earth virgin raw materials when these can be recovered from electronics and put back into the manufacturing process. Third is by reducing the amount of transportation between different processors. For recyclers like Dynamic, who can perform more services in-house, there's no need to transport to several different places to get down to the raw material level. And last is by keeping electronics out of landfills. Many electronics contain toxic substances that can leach out and poison our soil and water. As Casey mentioned, we have recently launched an avoided emissions calculator to help showcase and identify the potential for emissions avoidance associated with e-waste recycling. If you're interested in learning more about that, please visit our sustainability page on our website, which will provide all of the links that we mentioned to later on in the chat and at the end of the presentation. So the benefits of e-waste recycling are pretty well known, and as such, 25 of our 50 states and the District of Columbia have all passed electronics extended producer responsibility laws, or what are called EPR. EPR laws they mandate manufacturers to ensure the responsible recycling of their products. These laws exist for more than just e-waste and can include other things like packaging, tires, batteries, and bottles. And in the US, there are 135 EPR laws spanning 33 states and covering 18 different products. The advantages of these legislative requirements include regulating manufacturer responsibility, providing guidelines for governance, creating standardization, and most importantly, providing consumers partially funded opportunities for recycling. Additional benefits related to sustainability include a focus on underserved populations, landfill bans, and compliance with transboundary laws and treaties between countries. Dynamic offers solutions to electronic manufacturers by ensuring legislative compliance to each state's specific requirements and obligations for the physical recycling of e-waste. As we saw earlier in the presentation, one way that we obtain this e-waste to be recycled is through what we call collection events. So now I'm going to hand it over to Sarah Davis, our collection event coordinator, to talk about these in more detail.
All right, thanks, Angela. A collection event is usually a single day event where we go out into our communities and allow residents to drop off their old electronics. Most state laws only allow e-waste collected from public schools or residential homes to count towards the manufacturer's recycling obligation. However, there are some exceptions in some states for small businesses and nonprofit organizations. Helping consumers and making it easy for them to responsibly recycle their electronic waste ensures that more of these materials are diverted from landfills and put back into the manufacturing stream, as Casey and Angela have mentioned. So what's the impact on our collection events? Well, in 2023 alone, we partnered with state electronic recycling programs, nonprofit organizations, and original equipment manufacturers to host 98 events and collect over 2.6 million pounds of electronic waste. In Wisconsin alone, we held 15 events and collected 580,000 pounds. To put this in perspective sustainably, the collection of 400,000 pounds of electronic waste can avoid the CO2 emissions equivalent to 156 gasoline-powered passenger vehicles driven for 1 year or sequester as much carbon as 856 acres of US forests in 1 year. So what do we accept at collection events? Well, here's a list. You can bring these to collection events to be recycled. So on the left and the middle are what we're looking at right now for accepted materials. A larger, more comprehensive list can be found on our website in the Legislative Recycling and Program Management page. And as a side note, this webpage provides more details for every state on the EPR laws that Angela touched on earlier. Some of the most common items we accept at events are TVs, computers, and their peripherals. TV peripherals can include items like VCR or DVD players, cable or satellite receivers, video game consoles, and their accessories. Computer peripherals can include printers, keyboards, mice, modems, speakers, cameras, external drives, and we also accept tablets, cell phones, and their accessories as well. Not listed on here, but some other items that are popular at events and we accept are holiday lights, wires, cords, and a plethora of small household appliances. While Dynamic takes most electronic devices, there are some non-accepted items that we do not take from the public at collection events. Some of these items are loose batteries, light bulbs, gas-powered electronics, medical electronics, smoke detectors, and vape pens. Here are some helpful tips to know before going to a collection event, both for safety and to move the line along. 1, know the costs and limitations. Most events are free to the public and do not have any limitations, but some may require a small fee on certain items or place restrictions on the number of items per vehicle. The information will be provided on the marketing materials or advertising for the event and can be found at the collection site's website. 2, stay in your vehicle. While we appreciate the offer to help, collection event team members are specially trained to handle and sort your materials into specific categories. 3, load it in the back. The easiest and fastest way for our team members to access your items is from the backs of your vehicles, such as trunks, truck beds, or cargo areas. 4, open the tailgate or liftgate. As you get closer to the unloading part of the line, open your trunk, tailgate, or liftgate to allow us access to your vehicle and expedite unloading your vehicle. 5, follow all traffic event signs. Events are carefully organized in a manner to ensure the most efficient traffic flow. Please ensure you are following any event signs that have been posted guiding the direction of traffic. 6, practice patience. Sometimes there are long lines at collection events because the event may happen only once or twice a year in your area, and most events are not appointment-based, meaning residents can arrive anytime during the event that works for them. Our team members work hard to make this a smooth and fast process, and the previous 5 helpful tips help to diminish the long lines. We are kicking off this season this month. In fact, we're starting the season this Friday at Western Technical College from 9 to 4. If you're not able to make it on Friday, we are hosting another collection event here at Dynamic on Saturday, March 16th from 8 to 2 at our facility in Wisconsin and in Onalaska, Wisconsin. We'll also be at the Onalaska Omni Center on March 23rd during the La Crosse Area Builders Association event, and we'll be in Black River Falls on April 20th. All residents are welcome to participate in these events, and we'll be accepting electronics at no cost to you. You can also feel free to follow us on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages to get updates on these events as well. If you're not able to make it to a collection event, you can you can still help us protect the planet by giving your electronics their next best life year round at a local permanent drop-off location. So Angela and I are going to walk you through kind of how to use these resources. We're going to start with Wisconsin. So with this webpage, it's really neat. You can decide which items you need to recycle. So Angela's just going to pick a few examples here. And then you would just pick household if you're a resident. And then this will just load up and it'll show a map with some locations where you can drop off your electronics to recycle them year round. And it'll give you more information about when each location is open, and many of the locations also offer or also list their website, so you can get more information on their website on specific items that they accept there as well. And we'll also show you an example for Minnesota. So Minnesota is structured a little bit differently. And the easiest way possibly to use this is by county. So you can either use the arrows here to show the counties alphabetically, or you can use the table search and just type in your county and it'll list all of the permanent sites in that county to give you more information where you can recycle your electronics any time of the year. And that is all we have for you today.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Angela and Sarah. And there are a couple of questions here that have come in. First of all, what are some of the easiest and hardest electronics to refurbish and to resell? And how do you determine that? Like when it comes into, when it comes into dynamic, who makes that determination? And then what's the easiest and hardest things to sell, to resell or refurbish?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take that one, Sarah. We have a whole division specifically dedicated to refurbishment and reuse, and that's our ITAD department. So we have highly trained, specialized team to look at incoming electronics, identify what we call cut lines. So there are certain criteria that each electronic must meet in order for it to be considered a refurbishable product. We refurbish and resell everything from desktops, laptops, circuit boards, processors, memory, hard drives. So a lot of computer components, as well as whole units. I think we even do cell phones, tablets. There are things that really would never qualify for refurbishment, and those are things like your old CRT tubes, which are not something that would be able to be like fixed and then resold back into the market. But I think we've even tried to, we've gotten in some like flat screen TVs that were still in good condition and working, and we were able to give them their next best life. So it really just depends on the quality and condition of the item when it comes to us. So as long as it comes in still in really good condition, there's a likelihood that it could be reused.
Who is it that's buying, or who do you sell them to? Is that
So we
open for like,
have,
can the general public buy them?
yeah, we have an e-commerce site. So we have, we sell on Amazon, eBay, and then those might be our only two platforms. So you can find us on both of those. So look us up and purchase a reused device. And usually, they're a little bit less expensive than something brand new, but still just as good, and help save that device from the landfill.
So speaking of that, how do you, whether it's their devices that you're taking, that you're refurbishing, or ones that you're ultimately breaking apart, how do you ensure data security? Like, how do you wipe the devices and guarantee that the memories are gone and all that?
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of certifications here at Dynamics. So we are NAID AAA certified, which is a certification that meets the standards for data sanitization and wiping. So we follow very strict protocols, have highly specialized equipment to ensure that all data is properly managed, sanitized, and wiped. And then we're audited annually by that certification body to ensure that we are meeting those standards and fulfilling those requirements. We also hold other certifications such as e-Stewards, R2, ISO 9, ISO 14,500, and we're even ITAR certified. So we've covered them all.
Could you explain what some of those are? Like, what is the e-stewards, and especially like, what does the e-stewards mean?
Yeah, eStewards is an environmental certification body. So they're really checking to ensure that you have an environmental management system and you're responsibly uh, following all sustainable practices, both in your business and for your materials through to the end of life. So we do downstream vendor due diligence all the way to the end of the product. So even after it leaves our facility as a raw material, we see where that goes into its next system, and then ensuring that it's, being remade or recycled properly.
Right. So that gets it like what I was talking about earlier with like sending them abroad to these
Yeah.
backyard recycling shops, right? So that when people are giving their e-waste to Dynamic, they can feel really comfortable that it's not contributing to that problem. Is that correct?
Yep. Correct. Yep.
Cool, cool. Um, what so you also, I think, have a location in Tennessee. Is that correct? Could you
Yes, we
tell me
do.
what's the relationship between here and Tennessee? How did that happen? And is it the same thing, or are there different things that happen in Tennessee?
So our Tennessee facility is a lot smaller, but we do offer a lot of the same services there. So we have an ITAD and a recycling division. We do manual disassembly there, and refurbishment and reuse on the ITAD side. We strategically picked Tennessee to help with our transportation. So we have a hub, so we don't have to transport, electronics coming from different areas of the country as far up to all the way to Wisconsin. If we can, find a closer space and get that to right to our Tennessee, it reduces that transportation that I was talking about earlier.
And you were mentioning one other thing earlier that caught my ear, and I'm really curious about it. You were talking about e-waste causing emissions, and you, Angela, I think specifically work on the emissions reduction accounting, right, or emissions
Yeah.
avoidance.
Yep.
Could you say a little bit more about that? Like, how is e-waste an emissions problem?
Yeah. So as I was saying, the what our emissions calculator is looking at is we are comparing the emissions that are generated from mining these raw materials from the earth to the emissions that we generate here at Dynamics. So as a business, to operate and run our processing equipment, I mean, we're using electricity, we have forklifts, there's fuel use. So we account for our emissions here that we create, and then we take that out of what we are saying. When you compare that to the emissions that would have been created had we mined those same materials from the earth, the difference between those two, or the delta, like the net positive, is what we can report out to our customers as avoided emissions. Because by putting those materials back into circularity, we avoid the need to mine them from the earth and generate emissions from mining, which is really highly intensive process as far as emissions go.
So a couple more questions are coming in from our audience. Do these items that go to Dynamic, if they're dropped off at the hazardous waste site at the La Crosse landfill, do they end up at Dynamic or no?
Sarah, do you want to take that one?
Yep, I can take that one. Yeah, so for the most part in our area, yes. So if they're dropped off at a hazardous waste facility in our area, the chances are really high that it's going to come to dynamic. If it doesn't come to dynamic, it's going to go to another electronics recycling company.
So is there a partnership, or how does that work? Does the county let you know if they're like, do they collect it and then let you know when they get a certain amount and
Yep,
you pick it up?
exactly. Yep. And
Okay.
then we provide the logistics part of it. So we'll come and pick up the material that they've collected. And each hazardous waste facility or each collector is a little bit different in the way that they in their volume capacity. So sometimes they can wait until we have full truckload. Sometimes they don't have the storage facility to be able to have a whole truckload in their facility. So we'll pick up a few pallets worth of material for them at a time, and we'll bring that into our facility to get that all recycled.
Here's a question going back to what can be used and refurbished. Can you reuse a laptop with a bad hard drive?
Yeah, if we can find a replacement hard drive that's been sanitized and wiped and is compatible with that laptop, and we are able to swap out the part, then yep, we would do that.
So you actually go through that trouble to find that part to refurbish instead of just saying, we're just gonna scrap this whole thing.
Yeah, we actually in the last couple of years, our e-commerce department started doing what's called build to order. So we're able to actually create custom PCs that would meet all of our, the consumer's requirements. So say you want a certain model of desktop with a certain hard drive capacity and a specific kind of RAM and processing capabilities. So we have that ability to build to order.
Nice. And we've got one final question here. Besides Dynamic in Wisconsin and in Tennessee, are there other places in the US where someone's offering e-waste recycling services?
Oh yes, definitely. We have 25 states that have e-recycling laws or EPR laws. So there are definitely electronics recyclers in many other states. Even in some states that don't have laws, there are some electronics recyclers as well. So it's more driven on the state legislations.
Got it.
Do you have anything to add on that, Angela?
Yeah, I would add that yes, there are other electronics recyclers. I mean, anyone can apply for a business license, but not anyone can provide sort of that confidence and credibility that Dynamic does. All of our certifications, all of our due diligence, and ensuring that we handle your electronics in the most environmentally responsible manner, so that we for sure know that whatever comes to us and leaves us is not ending up in a third world pit or burned in China or something like that.
Right. And I think that's what's so important about that e-steward certification, right? Is that
Yeah.
there's plenty of other e-recycling places out there. However, all too many of them just, you bring your e-waste in the front door and they throw it in a truck out the back door and it ends up in China.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yes, they're, I guess, technically recycling your e-waste, but they're not doing it responsibly. And I think that's what's so great about what's happening with Dynamic. And the fact that it's right here in our backyard is fantastic. So, question probably for Sarah. Can businesses drop items off at the upcoming events, or is it only for households?
So these events are only for household material. So with business material, that would be going to one of the household hazardous waste permanent drop-off sites for those.
Gotcha. And can businesses at all work with you? Can they reach out directly to you to set up some type of a program or drop off for their specific business?
Yep, they can too. We do work with businesses as well directly, more with our ITED department, but we do work with a lot of businesses as well to bring in electronics to be recycled too. In Wisconsin particularly, we work with quite a few schools as well, as they're doing maybe refreshes or things like that. We work with them to get any of the old non-working electronics out of there as well.
Great, fantastic. I also want to just bring up, if anyone's interested in this idea of upcycling and sort of, it's called cradle to cradle, right? So taking materials and instead of just in our typical life cycle, we manufacture them, we use them, and then we just throw them away in the landfill. But cradle to cradle means we find another use for them, right? There's some great books out there on this idea. One of them that I would recommend is called The Upcycle by William McDonough and Michael Bongart, who wrote this. This is about 10 or 11 years old now. The Upcycle. They're the authors of a very famous book in the sustainability world called Cradle to Cradle, which came out in the early 2000s. So either one of those books, if you're interested in learning more about upcycling, not specifically e-waste, but just upcycling in general, and what we could be doing with our waste, those are good books to check out. So I want to first of all just say thank you so much to both Sarah and Angela for sharing your expertise with us. I think it's exciting stuff that's happening here with Dynamic. It's a wonderful service that we should all be using, because Lord knows we all have enough electronic waste squirreled away in our houses, in old cell phones sitting in drawers and stuff like that. So definitely, this is an incredible service for folks in this area to utilize and to reach out to, and they're dealing with a really important it's an important project, right? They're helping to keep this world clean, so it's fantastic. I do, just wearing my Western Technical College hat, I do want to remind, as Sarah was talking about, we do have an event coming up March 8th. That's this Friday from 9 to 4 p.m. At Western. So it's on the corner. If you come to the corner of 8th Street and Badger, you'll see all the boxes collecting e-waste material. There'll be students there. This is run from our student-run help desk. So there'll be students there unloading your e-waste and getting it to Dynamic. So please do take advantage of that. We've had a lot of success with this program in the last 3 or 4 years, where we've collected tons and tons of material. And there's oftentimes a line. So as Sarah said, please practice patience. We'll get to you. We'll get to you. So a couple of end notes here. First of all, just thank you so much for attending. This type of programming wouldn't be possible without our supporters and our members. So big shout out to Lee Roche and Western Technical College, who are our committed advocates. Excel Energy, Olson Solar Energy, Habitat for Humanity La Crosse, Dorothy Leonard, People's Food Co-op, Strive to Thrive, and the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Order Adoration all help us do what we do. So please, if you are interested, if you think this programming is worth it to keep free, please do consider becoming a member. You can do that by going to sustaininstitute.com and clicking in the upper right corner. You'll see a Become a Member button or just a Donate button. So find an amount that is that you're comfortable with, and we would really appreciate any new members or any donations. It helps us keep doing bringing you this great programming. 2 more quick announcements. First of all, oh, sorry, and as Carrie reminds me, we also have a poll. So please do participate. Take a couple seconds to participate in this 4-question poll. This just lets us at the Sustainability Institute know how we're doing, and know if the programming that we're offering you is stuff that you're looking for. So if you could take 10 seconds or so to answer this poll. All right, as you're finishing that up, 2 announcements about upcoming events that we've got that we are very excited about. These are annual events. The first one is our annual Green Goose Chase. We are now going on year 4. The Goose Chase runs from April 18th to 28th. That's the week leading up to the La Crosse Earth Fair. And the Goose Chase is a mission-based / scavenger hunt that we do around town here. And it's all run through a free app that you download on your phone. You create a team, and teams can be, work colleagues, it can be families, it can be friends, and they can be located wherever, around the world because of this virtual world that we're living in now. Once you create that team, you complete missions that we will drop into the app, and you get points for all that. And depending on the number of points you get, you are then entered into drawings to win some great prizes. Each mission is tied to a good life goal. So you get a little bit of learning with each mission, and then usually a lot of fun as well. So we also have a celebration with that down at the Earth Fair. Green Goose Chase is totally free. So please do head over to our website to check that out. Registration will open up here probably in the next week or two, but you can find everything you need information-wise on the website right now. And that brings me to another event which is tied to that, and that's the La Crosse Area Earth Fair, which is happening this year on April 28th. It's the last Sunday of April from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Myrick Park. It's a free event. It's a great family event where you will encounter dozens of vendors who are doing some good sustainability stuff. You'll encounter lots of organizations who are in the sustainability world as well. I believe there's going to be some EV cars there to check out and to learn about. So please do come on down and check it out. The Sustainability Institute's Earth Fair. Again, that's April 28th from 11 to 4 at Myrick Park in La Crosse. And to learn more about those or any of our other upcoming events, head to sustaininstitute.com/upcoming events. You can find a recording of this sustainability chat in the next, it'll pop up in the next couple of days at sustaininstitute.com/spotlight. You can also find all of our previous sustainability chats there as well. So thank you for joining us today, and get out there and enjoy this beautiful March day. See you later, everybody.